In this lecture, we will know about some of the curve edit options in NX. So right now I am in the sketch mode, and if I click on this arrow, we can see curve edit options. So we can edit chamfer, fillet. So we have already discussed about chamfer, fillet, quick trim, quick extend. Here we can see move curve, move offset, scale curve, resize curve and chamfer curve. So we will know about all these options. Now to use these options, first of all, let me create some sketch. So I go to rectangle and then go to center rectangle, and let's say I draw a rectangle like this. So I can take this rectangle of any dimension. I click close from here and then go to move curve from here. Select this move curve. As the name suggests, we can move a curve along any direction. Now here in the selection filter, I am selecting single curve. So here we can see the option single curve, connected curve, tangent curves. When I select the single curve, it will select only single curve. And when I select the connected curve, let's say I select this connected, and if I click on any of the curve, it will select all the connected curves. So that is something we don't need right now. So I click on reset from here, and here I will select single curve. So first of all, we need to select the curve which we want to move. So let's say I select this curve. So select this curve. Now here we can see we have type of motion. In the motion we can specify the motion using distance and angle, distance, angle, distance between points, point to point, etc. So these are all the different options to specify the distance and angle value. So let's say I specify using distance and angle. To specify the distance, we need to specify a direction for this. So click on this direction vector. So right now we can see two vectors are highlighting. One is on left direction and also up and downward direction. So I can also drag it like this. Similarly up and down. Here I can specify a pivot point. So pivot point is basically the reference point. Now we can specify the distance value and the angle. So let's say I click on this vector. Right now we can see the vector is going, I want this inside, so click on reverse direction and then specify some value of distance. So let's say this value is 25, some larger value to have a better view, and then we can specify some angle. So let's say this angle is again 25, press enter, click OK. Now we can see the curve has moved at a distance of 25 and also the angle is 25. So the angle is measured from this vertical axis. Similarly, we have some more options in the move curve. I go to this move, we can specify using point to point, distance between point, and I can select dynamic. So let's say I select this curve. Here, go to curve and select this curve. With this dynamic, we can pick this handle and drag it. Similarly, we can pick this point and try to rotate this. So this is where we can do this, and I can click OK. So this is the first basic way of editing the curves. After that we will know about offset feature. So here if I go to this edit curves, we can see the option of offset curve. With this offset curve we can offset the curve in any specific direction. So let's say I go to this offset, I draw an arc like this. Okay, so right now I don't want to show all these dimensions, so I can go to this display sketch auto dimension and then go to offset curve from here. Now inside this offset curve we can see, first of all we need to select the curve and then we need to specify distance. So after that we have create dimension and then symmetric offset. So I am making an uncheck on this symmetric offset. Now select the curve. So by default the offset direction is going upward. If I click on this arrow, it will go downward. When I click on this symmetric offset, it will create offset in both directions and distance will be the same. In the end conditions, we can specify any extension cap or arc cap. I click extension cap, and whenever we have multiple curves, we can specify the continuity and endpoint. So we will cover this continuity later. I click OK. So here we can see we have created the offset curves. Now here one more option we can see, that is offset move curve. So this command is combination of move curve and offset curve. So I select this option and then go to this rectangle. After that we need to select the curves. So in this offset curve, let's say I am selecting this complete rectangle. So here I will select connected curves. I select this complete curve and then specify an offset distance. So let's say this distance is 20. Press enter. Now we can see the preview of the offset. Right now by default it is going inward. So we can also specify the direction in outward. Click on this arrow. So with this move offset option, it will not create a copy of the offset. So also the original sketch we have created will also offset. So I click OK. And here we can see the original rectangle has also been offsetted. So that is difference between offset and move offset. Next option we have is the scale curve. Click on the scale curve. With this option, we can scale any curve up to any scale factor. So let's say right now the scale of this curve is 1. And let's say I want to double this rectangle. Now to double this rectangle, I select all the curves here. So it is showing a single curve. I will select the connected curves here and select all the curves. And then we need to specify a reference point. So let's say this point is my reference point. Scale factor, so this value is 2, press enter. And now we can see a bigger rectangle. Since this is my reference point, with respect to this point, this rectangle will be enlarged. I click OK. So in this way we can use the scale factor. After that, if I click on this arrow, we can see resize chamfer and then resize curve. So with this option we can resize the fillet and chamfers. So let's say I insert a chamfer inside this. Go to chamfer tool. Select the first curve, select the second curve and then drag the mouse. So I'm taking a chamfer of any random dimensions. I click close. Now let's say I want to change the dimensions of this chamfer. For this we can use the resize chamfer option. So go to this arrow and then click on this resize chamfer. So we need to select the chamfer curve. So select this curve and then specify the distance value. So let's say this value is 50, press enter. Click OK. And in this way we can see the curve has been edited. Similarly, we can also modify the fillet curve. So I create a fillet here. Select this first line, second line and draw a fillet like this. Close. And then I go to this resize curve and then select this arc. Here we can specify the parameter for this arc. Also we can drag it. Hold down this arc and then drag the mouse. In this way we can modify the values of this arc and then click OK. So in this way we use the curve edit options in NX.